My mother once told me, dreams built on rotten wood always collapse. But I didn't expect my fall to be so loud. I was once one of the richest women in my country. People called me the golden billionaire. I built my empire from scratch, starting with a single stall in a dusty market square. By the time I was 35, I owned hotels, factories, and even a private jet. But last year, everything crumbled, almost overnight. And the worst part? It was all because of my own arrogance. But let me start from the beginning, so you understand how I got here. My name is Dara. I was born in a small town most people couldn't even find on a map. My earliest memories were of watching my mother sell roasted groundnuts on a roadside stall. She was the strongest person I ever knew. After my father died when I was 3, she worked from sunrise to midnight to keep us fed. Some nights, we had only water and a single piece of bread to share, but she always made it feel like a feast. I remember sitting beside her, counting coins she'd earned, dreaming about having enough money to buy her a house with a tiled roof so rain wouldn't leak through the holes. At 13, I started selling oranges after school. By 15, I was selling secondhand clothes I got from the city market. At 17, I saved enough to open a small stall of my own, a wooden table with a bright blue umbrella. I called it Mama Dara's, even though I was the only one behind the counter. Every morning, I'd carry goods from the wholesaler on my head, balancing heavy bags bigger than my body. Customers liked me because I smiled, remembered their names, and sometimes gave them credit when they were short on cash. Slowly, word spread, and people came to my stall from other neighborhoods. But it wasn't easy. I was robbed twice before I turned 18. One time beaten so badly I couldn't stand for a week. A crooked tax collector demanded more money from me, or he'd shut me down. I cried myself to sleep more nights than I can count. But every time I thought about quitting, I pictured my mother's tired eyes, the way she'd cough late at night from breathing smoke while roasting groundnuts. I promised myself I'd give her a better life. When I was 19, a traveling businessman noticed me. He bought a shirt from my stall and asked how a girl my age could run a business so well. I told him my story. He gave me his card and said if I ever wanted to grow, I should visit his office in the city. For weeks, I kept that card under my pillow, afraid it was a cruel joke. One day, after a fight with a supplier who doubled my prices because girls can't negotiate, I packed my few belongings, hugged my mother, and boarded the cheapest bus to the city. Arriving in the city was like stepping into another world. The roads were lined with tall buildings. The air smelled of cars and money. I wore my only good dress, but it was still faded compared to the sparkling suits I saw around me. I found the businessman's office, a shiny glass building with marble floors. His secretary looked at me like I was lost, but I insisted I had an appointment. He kept his word. He offered me a small loan, just enough to buy a shipment of affordable shoes I could sell in bulk. I worked day and night, knocking on shop doors, convincing owners to take a chance on a teenage girl from a dusty town. I slept on the floor of my tiny rented room, counting every coin. I paid off the loan 3 months ahead of schedule. He was impressed and gave me a bigger loan. That's how my first real business was born. Dara's Shoes and Bags. By the time I was 22, I had 3 shops and 6 employees. I wish I could say things got easy after that, but they didn't. Banks refused me loans because I was a woman, telling me to bring my husband or father to co-sign. When I spoke at meetings, older men would cut me off or laugh behind my back. Suppliers cheated me, assuming I wouldn't understand contracts. Once, a male competitor spread rumors I was sleeping with my customers to win sales. Each time, I fought back with everything I had. At 25, I risked everything to import a massive shipment of luxury handbags. The deal nearly fell apart when customs seized my goods, accusing me of false paperwork. I spent weeks going from office to office, pleading, arguing, making shady payments when I had to. When they finally released the goods, I sold every piece within a month. That single shipment turned me into a multi-millionaire overnight. I bought my mother a house with a white tiled roof and marble floors. When I gave her the keys, she fell to her knees and cried. I thought I'd never see her smile so wide. But I wasn't satisfied. I wanted more, not just for me, but for every girl who grew up believing poverty was her destiny. I expanded into beauty products, then opened a logistics company to solve the nightmare of getting goods across bad roads. By 30, I had investments in hospitality, manufacturing, and even a small airline. People started calling me Queen Dara. Magazines put my face on their covers. Invitations to speak at women's conferences arrived every week. But with success came loneliness. Every man I dated either felt intimidated or only wanted my money. I stopped trying after my third heartbreak. I convinced myself I didn't need love, just power. I thought I'd reach the top when I turned 35. I threw myself a birthday party in my penthouse suite, a glass tower that overlooked the city I once feared. Celebrities came. Politicians toasted to my health. Cameras flashed like starlight. My mother sat quietly at a corner table, wearing a golden dress I bought her, looking proud but worried. I barely noticed. My eyes were fixed on what I wanted next. That's when I met her, Senator Layla, a powerful woman who told me I was destined for more. She said we could build an empire together, a women-led conglomerate that would control everything from food to tech. She called it the Phoenix Project. I thought it was the ultimate dream. Two women at the top, proving to the world we could beat men at their own game. I didn't know it then, but the seeds of my downfall were already sown that night. You won't believe what happened next. Type next for part 2.